Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Happy Thursday. So I am here with Chantal again. We're doing our
Yeah.
doctor live.
Yeah.
This one today is going to be about, and you guys can't see it necessarily. I messed up my ankle really bad on Sunday, so I've got it up on the desk. So that's going on. Like, you can't really see it. This all looks kind of normal to you right here, but just
Yeah.
imagine there's a leg right there. But anyway, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So what we're going to talk about today is high blood pressure and high cholesterol and how we can support that naturally, okay? And then I'm actually going to have a story from somebody that messaged me last night with some amazing results of just naturally taking care of themselves and what that's done for their own body. So that's very, very cool. But Chantal, let's go ahead and start just like normal. Usually what we do is we just talk about what
it is,
like the symptoms, what it is, and then we talk about how to be able to support our bodies. So how do we get high blood pressure and high cholesterol?
It starts with arterial inflammation. So basically, it starts with nutrition, unfortunately.
Right.
But the myth is usually people are gonna think that for high blood pressure it's too much salt, and for high cholesterol it's too much fat. But that's not the case. What people think they know and what is actually happening is two different situations, because sugar is the cause of inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And after you have arterial inflammation, then you start having the fat that sticks to the arteries. And with the inflammation, the artery goes like this. So there's less space for the blood to circulate. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you have, let's say you're having breakfast with eggs, bacon, and potatoes and toasts. Okay? So people are going to think that the egg is the cause, but actually the cause of the inflammation that's going to cause the cholesterol to stick to the walls of the arteries is your potatoes and your bread. That it starts, and people think that, and it's the same thing with the high blood pressure. The cause of that is, first thing, the inflammation in the arteries. After that, when you have a slightly smaller passage for the blood to flow, of course you're going to have a change in your blood pressure. Your heart is going to pump more to get the blood in, and then it's going to have a hard time to relax to get the blood out. And
so
the blood pressure is that. Blood pressure is the first number that you have, that usually is supposed to be between 120 and after that 80. Okay. If your heart is pumping too much because of the inflammation, so it's going to pump more. So your blood pressure is going to have to be more to get the blood to where it's supposed to go. And then the second one is when your heart is on pause and the blood flow goes down. It's the same thing. If the artery is shrunk by the inflammation, it's going to have a harder time for it to flow. So it's going to take more time. So more effort up and more time going down. So the heart is starting. That's where the stroke problems and heart problems start in the long run, because your heart is always your heart is a muscle, of course, but I mean it's working full time all the time, 24 hours a day. But if you give it too much work, it's like a battery. In the long run, it's going to get a lot more fatigue.
Yeah.
because of that.
What an excellent picture you just painted. I mean, it's a scary picture, but it's an
Yeah.
accurate picture, and it's necessary to understand things on this. Who was it? Einstein, I think, that said if you can't explain something to a small child, then you don't really understand it well enough yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
That you just painted the picture yourself. That was excellent. I think everybody can understand that the way that we eat and what, it's basically, it sounds like the step one of hitting a bad part of the situation. Step one is the way we eat and that high cholesterol, and then step two is high blood pressure. Would that be right?
Well, most of the time, yes, but you could have either or. But in the long run, you're gonna go with both, because it's rare that if you start having, let's say, cholesterol or high blood pressure in your 50s, 5 to 10 years after that, you're gonna go for high cholesterol and high blood pressure. You're gonna have to deal with both. Yeah.
Wow.
If you don't change your habit, if you don't correct what's wrong. But most of the time you don't know, because you've been eating like that, and you have a lifestyle like that all your life, and all of a sudden you take some blood work and you have cholesterol. The doctors and everybody in the health industry, well, they prone for low fat, but it's the combination of sugars and fat,
Right.
that makes the difference. It's not the fat. The fat per se, you leave it alone. The fat per se, it's not going to kill you. If you go and get good fat and things like that, you can have
butter.
Yeah, but not the bread.
You're gonna see it right now, I think.
You can have butter, but not the bread. But you can put it in your veggies. You can put it on your steak, and that's okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So so for people that have high blood pressure or high cholesterol, I think that we definitely, in the the marketing of health food world that we live in, let's just talk about it like how I talk about it at home. Let's just do it. The marketing of health food and things like that, like the low fat, low calorie, things like that. What you need to be paying attention to whenever you see things like that, you should actually be probably more scared of those than of other things, because you need to look at the labels and see what's in place of those things. But then also, low fat is not, that was like an 80s thing. That was around for a little while, and it was because they were saying that fat was making us fat, and that's not the case, you guys. Carbs and sugar are making us fat. Like that's empty
and usually
calories.
When you have low fat, it's gonna be substituted by sugar or sugar substitute.
Right.
Because fat gives taste, and if you take out the fat, you don't have any taste. So in our minds. So in the health, not in the health industry, in the food industry, they have to compensate with something else. So they go for sugar or sugar substitute.
Yeah.
It's a marketing and selling thing, by the way. I mean, the best way to eat is anything that you can pick and do yourself. So that's the first thing. And it doesn't have to be complicated, protein and veggies, and you're on track.
Yeah.
It's good and it's fast.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that fat does for us, and this isn't us, vouching for a keto type of diet, because you don't need to be in ketosis to burn fat, by the way, guys. So there's that. But also fat fills you up. So fat's going to satisfy you. So you take the fat out of something, and all of a sudden you're on the hamster wheel. You're hungry all the time, and consuming this stuff that is garbage. And the stuff that is garbage is what then goes into starting to create this inflammation into our bodies, right? Like that's exactly. It's the slow decline into unwellness that we don't notice until we're 40, or 50 or whatever. And all of a sudden we're thinking, man, I'm starting to get older, right? Like I'm starting to feel older. Like your mind may not feel older, but your body is looking older than you feel like it should. And it's starting to hurt more and stuff like that. That doesn't need to happen to us at such a young age, you guys.
No.
That really can be, you can bypass that stuff just by what you eat and bringing in nutrients into your diet. Like that's really what you can do. Let's get back into high blood pressure though. So how would, because now I'm going off on top. Let me just say real quick though, there's an 11-day challenge coming up, or 11-day cleanse coming up. If you guys are wanting to make this change in your life, message me, message somebody, talk to us about the 11-day cleanse, because it's totally and completely free. The only thing that you have to pay for is what you're going to consume. Okay, so talk to somebody about it, because we're going to be teaching you the real on everything as nutrition goes. We've been lied to for a very long time, and it stops now. that's the case. So anyway, let's go back into high blood pressure, and then I'm going to tell the story about somebody that messaged me. But so how would somebody be able to counteract that? So the juice that we drink, how does that help counteract the high blood pressure and high cholesterol then?
Well, the main, sorry, my cat is here. The main thing is it's life. It's life.
Right. Totally cool.
It addresses inflammation. That's the main thing. And that's the main reason why people have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Arterial inflammation. So with the blend of antioxidants and the blend of detox, you get the junk out, but also you bring really down the inflammation. So that's the main thing, you guys. It's dealing with the inflammation combined with a little bit of changes because you're trying to get the inflammation down, and you're trying to give your body a break, so it's going to start healing itself. So you need to combine with food also, you need to cut down on the starch but that's the main thing. The first step is bringing down the inflammation. So that's what the juice does. Deals with the inflammation, and it's pretty powerful too. I mean, when you do get on that juice, I mean, you deal with that pretty fast.
It's insane. It's insane. So like there are people that I imagine that a lot of people out here watching this are thinking, I would really like to not be dealing with these health problems. I guarantee 100% of people watching it that have these health problems don't want to be dealing with those health problems. That's real, right?
Yeah.
But then there's a behavioral change, right? So then we say, well, you've got to eat better and yada yada. Well, now you start putting sort of like these speed bumps, like, well, I don't know if I can do that. So now we've got a bunch of different scenarios of, well, I don't know if that's going to be easy. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. Here's my challenge to you. Don't worry about any of this yet. Don't worry about diet. Don't worry about any of that yet. The very first thing that you should do is start drinking this juice. And now I'm going to tell you this story. So there's a woman that's on our team, and she messaged me late last night, because she was so excited. Late last night, she messages me and she says, her cholesterol last year, when she gets it checked yearly, her cholesterol last year was 220. Okay. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what that number really means, 220 is really the top of you're getting into a scary place. That's where you're going to start talking about heart disease and things like that. Am I right, Chantal?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. What other things would that signify, having 220 cholesterol?
Well, you start having irregular heartbeats, or you can start having some, pretty yucky symptoms of high blood pressure. You're looking at, a lot more significant ways of maybe getting a stroke in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's pretty scary. Yeah.
It is
And
scary.
you can have some sweats, day sweats, night sweats, some spins, or just thirsty all the time. And it's scary because it could mimic a lot of symptoms that you're used to, so you don't know really what's going on, but it could influence your heartburns also, and your digestion. It's really no, it's not. When you're at 220, it's not fun. You got to control it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she was at 220 last year, and then today, or I'm sorry, not today, yesterday she got tested again, and she is now at 128.
I know,
And
it's amazing.
Isn't that insane? That is almost 100 points down. And that is the only difference that she made, that the only different thing that she didn't even change her diet. She hasn't changed her diet yet because she wanted to hold off on that. So exactly what I said before, that happened, okay? So
Yes.
all that she did was start drinking the juice, and 3 months later is when this number came out. Okay, so within 3 months of drinking the juice, I know she had her panel done last year, but she started drinking the juice 3 months ago. That's what I'm trying to say. And then now 128, and that is in a normal range. Now she's in an optimal range, and she has never. She said, I'm not sure how old she is. I don't want to say, but she said never in her adult life has she ever been in the optimal range. She's always been on that high end. So this is changing people's lives. And this is not, the juice is not a medication, you guys. It's not a medicine. What it's doing is it's giving you nutrients. It's giving you what the heck your body needs, you guys. It's not synthetic stuff. It's all from whole foods. It's doing for you what you don't feel like you can do yet diet-wise and things like that. It's bringing in a massive load of nutrients that aren't isolated, that aren't synthetic, that are not going to hurt you. It's all good. And they will be, and this is nerd term, but they're going to be bioavailable, which means that your body's actually going to be able to use them. So whenever you take like a multivitamin or something like that, 9 times out of 10, the nutrients in those multivitamins, depending on where it comes from, but the nutrients in those multivitamins are not going to be bioavailable. You're not going to be able to actually absorb the nutrients. You're just going to
12 to 15%.
It's 12 to 15% that are or are not?
That are absorbed. Yeah.
That's insane, you guys. But whenever with this juice, I mean, I would venture to say 100% are going to be absorbed because they're all bioavailable because of what comes along with them. It's the blend that matters too, you guys.
I would say
What's that?
I would say 90 to 92%, which
That's
is
awesome.
Which is it's marvelous because you rarely, when you have a composition of nutrients, you rarely see bioavailability that high. You know, I've seen, vitamin complex that are in the 70s and 80% range, but 90 to 92, not quite. So, I mean, yes, even though it's not 100%, because we flush some stuff, of course, like everything, your body takes what it needs and flushes the rest. But, it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And you see, and you feel it. You feel it quickly. A couple of days, and you feel something's going on.
Yeah. The funniest thing that I ever hear people say is they'll say I feel a lot better. I just can't really put my finger on why I feel better.
Exactly.
Your body is happy with you. That's why you feel better.
Yeah.
Your body's being fed. It's been starving. It's like we're feeding our bodies, but we're starving in the same right because they're not getting the nutrients.
Yeah.
You eat a cheeseburger at McDonald's and yeah, you're going to be full for a little while, but that is not nutrition, friends. That's not nutrients. That is not something that's going to support the structure of your body. That's garbage. Oh man, I get so
just
look at me, I'm all
your
red and flushed. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Take a breath, Martha. Take a breath.
I know, man. Just get off the soapbox, lady, right? You know how I get.
I know.
So the juice would be helpful is in the end, let's just say that the juice is going to be helpful.
Yeah, for the inflammation first thing.
Yeah, which then it leads to everything else. But it's so crazy because that lady wasn't even drinking it for that purpose. It was like a happy side effect. It's the craziest thing ever. So it's
most
cool.
of the time people come, with this juice for weight problems or things like that. But at the end of the story, it's the last thing that they talk about. Because there's so many stuff that's going on in their bodies and changing in their bodies that they don't even think about that. They're proud of losing some weight, but it's not the main reason anymore. And, when you take it for a month and 2 months, it's beautiful to be able to help people that and see them in their progress and seeing that they do get better, and it's not necessarily complicated.
Yeah, I would say it's not complicated at all. I always have people asking me like, okay, so whenever they get their juice, they'll message me and they say, okay, now what do I do with my juice? And I'm like, stick it in the fridge and then drink it.
Yeah.
There's not like an equation or anything. It's like, just stick it in the fridge and you're going to drink it. And then you're going to feel better. And that's really just what's going to happen. Let it do its job. Let it do its job. So
exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Well, whenever you guys are ready to start your own juice journey, do make sure that you reach out to somebody on my team. And the reason why is, first of all, we do have that 11-day cleanse coming up. Okay. So you would be able to be involved in that. And that's only for people on my team. So whenever you sign up, make sure that you ask the person that you're signing up with if they're on Martha Krejci's team. And yes, that's how you say my name. Are you on Martha Krejci's team? If they cannot say yes to that, then you need to find somebody that is, or just message me and I'll find somebody for you. Because this is important. We have a group where we have Chantal. She comes in, she answers questions every Tuesday. She also just answers questions every honking day. I mean, it's like you're on call Chantal.
Yeah.
I just got a new name for
your
you.
virtual doctor.
I'm gonna get you a t-shirt. And then we also have a personal trainer that makes daily workouts. So for the 11-day cleanse, we're going to have daily workouts. They're going to be HIIT workouts or high impact interval workouts, which are really good for every body type and everybody, right? Like even if you're just starting, you can make it your own. Or if you want to make it more advanced, you can do that. Doesn't really matter. You do you. And then it's a community. We share recipes. We do this together. So I think that's the thing that I hear most about people enjoying this entire experience is that you're not alone. You're not alone. You have us cheering you on. It's not like we're all dieting together, because this isn't even a diet.
No.
This is life. We're all doing life together and we're loving life together. And we all share our wins and like how exciting it is to not have to nap every day or whatever it is, right? But all of those things happen in that group. So make sure that, long story short, make sure that you sign up under somebody that is under Martha Krejci. So say, are you on Martha Krejci's team? They say yes. Then you're like,
yes.
Awesome. I need some juice. And then they'll be like, cool, here's the thing. So there is that. What last words do you have, Chantal, for people that have high blood pressure or high cholesterol? What would be a next step for them?
Well, of course, you need to deal with the inflammation. So start with the juice. Cut down on the sugars. If you start by cutting down the refined sugars, the white refined bleach sugars that are toxic for you, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
High fructose corn syrup and white sugar. So check the labels, and and the rest after that, a little bit at a time. You're gonna start feeling better in your body, so you're automatically, unconsciously gonna do changes for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing is deal with the inflammation, cut down on the sugars.
Yeah.
And it's just that, it's a win.
Really.
Yep.
It sounds like a small step, but it's so big. It's so big, and your body will thank you.
Yeah.
And you'll love it.
You can have a pound of bacon if you want. Just don't eat it with the brown sugar on it,
Right. Yes. Oh my word. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay, cool. Well, let's leave it at that. Eat a pound of bacon. So adios, you guys. Have an awesome night, and we will see you next week.
Okay. Bye.